Hello everyone, it's me, Demetra Kaye of the Demetra Kaye Show here on YouTube and a proud contributor of the African Diaspora News channel. If you could please do me a favor and subscribe to all channels and like this video, I would greatly appreciate it. So in 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom of California signed into legislation to create a task force that would decide if Black Californians, American descendants of slaves, would be entitled to reparations. And this is what happened after they got together. Californians eligible for reparations, the task force decided in March, would be descendants of enslaved African Americans or free Black persons living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. Nearly 6.5% of California residents, roughly 2.5 million, identified as Black or African American. The panel is now considering how reparations should be distributed. Some favor tuition and housing grants, while others want direct cash payments. The task force has identified 5 areas: housing discrimination, mass incarceration, unjust property seizures, devaluation of Black businesses, and healthcare. In discussions for compensation, for example, from 1933 to 1977, when it comes to housing discrimination, the task force estimates compensation of around $569 billion, with $223,000 per person. So yes, you heard it right. They have decided that it sounds like Black Californians who are American descendants of slavery should get around $23,000 in reparations. And so, of course, there's a lot of people who are like, wait a minute, I don't believe that they should get it. My family didn't own slaves. But particularly, there's a group of Hispanics, and they're going by Chicanos. They said this on their Facebook. If African Americans are getting reparations, $300,000 per person, land return, business loans, housing grant, tuition, wage increase, and job protections, why not any reparations for Mexican Americans? Mexican Americans had also had their land stolen, massacred, exiled, enslaved, and lynched. Chicanos have been here before America had even existed. California was never a part of African American slavery history or slave trade. They should do that in the South. Let the people of California decide on this matter, not some politician seeking a presidential run. Well, I want to say this. I've heard a lot of people say, well, California wasn't complicit in the slave trade. Yes, it was. They particularly signed into legislation in 1852 a form of the Fugitive Act, which says that if slaves, because California was considered a free state, but if slaves escaped from the South to California, they were obligated to send them back, to give them back to their slave master. And in fact, when slave owners would come to California, or go to California rather, I'm acting like I'm still there. When they would go to California from the South, they would bring their slaves, and California didn't get in the way of that. They didn't say, well, you know what? We're a free state here, so you can't do slavery here. They just allowed it to go on. And so, yes, and even, far back as the 1700s, there was enslaved Black people in California. So people should do their research before they just blurt out stuff. But back to this post, from the Chicano Americans, Mexican Americans. Well, you know what? Take that up with Gavin Newsom. Don't try to impede on what we are supposed to be getting as Black Californians. Yes, I'm a Black Californian. Don't impede on what we getting. Go take that up with them. But it should also be said, as I said, I'm from California, and they have a whole host of Indian casinos, and they have land and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so, they are getting stuff, but don't hate on us. We want ours too. It shouldn't be an either or. It can be an also, right? Y'all can get what y'all asking for, and we can get what we want, right? Now, will it take place? I don't know. Hopefully it will. But as the person said at the end of that hateful rant about Gavin Newsom running for president, from what I understand, he said he was not going to seek to run for president in 2024. So it's just a lot of bad information going on out there just to hate on Black people who deserve that. Not, I mean, $223,000 is really a drop in the bucket for what they actually owe us. But some of the other things that they said that would be considered from this task force that was commissioned are things like this. Require scaling up the minimum wage for experienced workers, create a fund to support Black-owned businesses and eliminate licensure barriers that harm Black workers, compensate people whose health has been permanently damaged by anti-Black healthcare, implement policy to close the racial wealth gap in California, implement a clear and detailed program to help African Americans obtain reparations, establish an office of African American Freedmen Affairs to help document eligibility and prevent harm. So that's just some of the things that the task force came up with. And so far, I kind of like what I hear. So I don't know. We'll see what actually happens. They're supposed to make a decision sometime early in 2023. So we'll stay tuned to see if it happens. I'll definitely let you know. So anyway, for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube. Peace.